Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Brew with Memli. And today I wanted to continue our brewing hack, and as I was brainstorming about what are the common issues we encounter, there's really one particular one that everyone faces because we are impatient, and that's the resting time. For each of our coffee, we recommend a resting time between 7 days, usually for pour overs, and up to 2 weeks, even three for espressos. But let's face the reality. Who waits that long? It's hard to wait for that long. And so here I wanted to show you a little trick to use when you have this coffee, it arrived locally roasted, maybe fresh, just 2, 3 days off roast, and you want to brew it because you can't wait, or it's just the only coffee you have. I'm going to show you right now with our newest coffee from Colombia how to do so. This coffee is coming from Antioquia, Colombia, produced by Felipe Trujillo at Finca La Ventolera, semi-washed processed. The process here is super interesting. That's where Felipe is a master in extracting the goodness of each and every lot, because first of all, on the picking, we have 70% of peak ripeness. Then 20% is overripe and 10% underripe. And that blend of different color stage creates a super good harmony. So it's really interesting. Then it goes to mass flotation. So when you put the cherries on a water tank, the denser ones fall in the bottom, and let them on the cherry for just 12 hours, like a little fermentation. Moves the pulp, so depulping, and leave it on stainless steel tank for 1 week to allow this malolactic fermentation before being dried on sunbed and then rested for another 2 weeks before being shipped. So it's a very complex semi-wash process that to me represent the best, all those flavors you can find in Colombia. I roasted this coffee just 6 hours ago. Super, super, super fresh. And I'm going to show you when you have those lightly roasted coffee, often on air roasters, that every roaster, including myself, recommend a resting time for at least a week, maybe 10 days, 2 weeks ideally. What can you do? So, first of all, I'm going to use a Sibarist filter to grind my coffee a little bit finer and hope it degas just a little bit. Then I'm going to drop my temperature. So here, my brewing temperature is at 84 degrees Celsius. And that's the biggest trick here. Carbon dioxide, CO2, is what creates crema. It's what creates the bubble as a sign of freshness. Now you know that when it's too fresh, there's a lot of bubble. And that CO2, when it's extracted, actually tastes bitter and dry. And so to mute that down, we are going to reduce our temperature so that we won't have as much dryness and astringency in the cup. Usually, I will use for this recipe a 1 to 15.3 ratio, using 13 grams of coffee, 200 grams of water, or here 15 grams of coffee, 230 grams of water with 4 equal pours. So I will do a 60-60 and then 55-55. And my two 60-60 double bloom will be on a paragon to further open up my coffee, because a lot is extracted. Of course, it's super, super fresh, but I want to minimize my extraction here. So the key takeaway here is to drop the temperature by almost 8-10 degrees. I usually brew at 92 degrees, but this is at 84 degrees. And that's what I want, because even at 84 degrees, I see some bubbles and sign of freshness. Remember, this is like 6-hour roast. And that's what I use sometimes when I'm not sure about, like let's say the roast is 10 seconds longer, or maybe 0.5 degrees higher or lower, is not exactly the same as last week. I put a brew and see if I can taste any defect, any issue with it. Usually not. Within plus minus 5-7 seconds, not a huge difference. I can taste at least. I'm removing bowl and I'm continuing my brew. The reason why I'm also using the Sibarist is to reduce my overall time. I don't want to brew this coffee for longer than 2 minutes and a half, even 2 minutes 25. I really want to stay around that 2 minutes mark once again because it's a super fresh coffee with a lot of CO2 trapped that needs to be degassed. And if I put hot temperature, I'm extracting those more. Last pour, very gentle until 230. So 1 to 15 ratio of 15.3. If you're using 200 grams water, 13 grams or 15 grams of coffee here, and 230. And I am done at 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Even a little longer than I expected, even though I ground my coffee at 7.75 on my Ditting. Let's let it cool down and come back with some sensory results. All right, give it a smell. Nice, nothing harsh. Quite soft. We smell the guava, the little floral orange blossom. Nice fruitiness, nice sweetness. Nothing too harsh. Here, when you have super fresh coffee, you really want to be focused on, or is something very harsh. It can be the texture, it can be the taste, of course, but also the acidity and the intensity of flavors. That's why I recommend a sort of split or an open cup to taste those, something with a wider mouth. You don't want something too narrow because that may accentuate the intensity that is already present here. So just something a little wider. And when you taste first is definitely the florality. Of course, because of the low temperature, we don't have too much of that butterscotch nougat finish that we have usually when this coffee is rested. But it's not an unpleasant cup. I don't have dryness, I don't have astringency, I don't have any sharp acidity. My texture is still there, so still a very smooth, creamy texture. The fruitiness, more on the guava, slightly less on the peach, of course, because those require slightly hotter temperature to extract, but much more on the delicate side. And as a result, as I say, nothing is too harsh here. It's very delicate, balanced, and complex. Yeah, the acidity reduced a little bit, the sweetness increased, and it created a very nice harmony and balance. So, to sum up, how to brew very fresh coffee. This is 6 hours old, but it works for anywhere from roast day to that 7 day window, and I prefer even 10 days or 2 or 3 weeks for espresso. If you have those coffees before, what to do? Reduce the temperature by 8 or even 10 degrees, and you will avoid having those harsh finish often or very intense flavor compounds, those an intense experience. I hope you learned something from those 3 series of brewing hack. If you want to pursue further, I invite you to come to our Patreon where we discuss every month a different topic and improve together on that particular subject, from brewing to roasting to green QC, etc., etc. Thank you very much for watching. Don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share this video, and see you next time for more brewing.